guys, I wanted to give you guys another update. This week, Matt and I went to the IVF clinic consultation, and we were there for about 2.5 hours. The first 30 minutes really was just signing in and waiting. When we finally did get in, we met with a nurse who took us into an office and pretty much asked us a ton of questions about medical history, family medical history. Have I ever been pregnant? Has he ever gotten anyone pregnant? Do we have siblings? If we do they have kids? Are we allergic to anything? Have we had any surgeries? You know, those basic things, but it was a lot of questions. I thought I was being interrogated. Matt didn't have as many questions, but we were in there for a while. Then she had us sit there for a little bit while the doctor, got ready to meet us. And we were there for a little bit. And then the nurse took us into another office where the doctor was at. And the doctor pretty much went over our results, which we already knew what the results were, but she went into more detail. And she started off with Matt's results, the semen analysis, and she said everything is normal. She said there was only one thing, I can't remember what it was exactly, but she said that one of the results was on the lower end of the spectrum. It'll say, oh, normal is between this and this. And it fell between the normal, but on the lower end of the normal. So she's like, it's not something to be concerned about. It's just something to make a note of. It's still normal, so we're gonna say it's normal. Then she went over my results, and sorry, my hair, and I look like a hot mess. Then my results, she went over the blood work and the HSG, which I had done at that clinic. And she showed me pictures of the HSG, and she's like, or video or whatever it was. I can't remember. That was a couple days ago. It was Thursday, and it was Monday. She showed me that everything looked good. Nothing was blocked. She then went over in detail all of the tests that I had done, and everything came back normal. And again, she said there was one of them that, again, there's like a normal range. And then for this specific one, I can't remember what it was, but I was on the lower half of the normal. She goes, again, nothing to be concerned about, just something to make a note of, no big deal. She said everything came back normal, nothing to be concerned about, which is the good news. And she said the bad news is that everything came back normal, which, we laughed. We're like, yeah, it's great, but then we still don't have answers as to why we're not getting pregnant. And she said pretty much what she could do, which I kind of already knew it was gonna happen, which was, IUI with Clomid. I don't know how to say it. Is it Clomid? IUI with Clomid, and she went over the procedure and the success rate. And right now, she said it looks like for our age group, or for my age group, I have a less than 5% chance of getting pregnant naturally, and that with the IUI with Clomid, I believe it was 10 to 20 or 10 to 12%, which is still pretty low. And she was going over the price and the procedure and whatnot. And she had a paper on the desk that gave us 3 treatments. The first one was IUI with the Clomid. And then she said, ignore the price because the prices have gone up. On the sheet, it said $750 to $1,000, which is what I was expecting. But instead, she's like, the prices are actually $1,500 to $2,000. And I think my husband and I just about fell out of her chair. That is twice the amount that I had expected. Then she said the injectables with IUI with injectables was anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000. And then the IVF, I can't remember if it was like 15 to 20. And that, that was obviously more extreme case or treatment. And so she said, I would highly recommend the IUI with the Clomid. She goes, I don't want to do just a Clomid on its own or just the IUI on its own. She said research has said that doing one or the other on its own do not increase your chance of getting pregnant. You increase it a little bit by doing both at the same time. And she said that we don't have to make a decision right then and there, that she would call me in a week, so next Monday, after I do more blood work, because she's saying that FDA requires to do certain tests, and it was blood work for Matt and I. So and then they were testing for like hepatitis and HIV and just like the basic things. And she said, you know, once we get the blood test done, she would call me back, and she already made a note to call us back. And the other thing she said, we need to do a physical on you right now. And I was like, whoa, I was not expecting that. And she's like, yeah, we're gonna check you from pretty much head to toe. So we waited in there for a little bit in her office while the nurse prepared the room. And I asked the nurse, I'm like, specifically, what are we doing today? Like, she's saying we're getting I'm getting a physical done, but I'm not sure what she's referring to. She's like, yeah, from head to toe, pap smear and all. And I looked at my husband, and I was like, that is not what I expected when I came into this appointment. I thought I was just getting a consultation. Like, we are going to discuss your options. We're going to discuss in details what's going on. And she said, no, yeah, I got the HSG and the ultrasound and the blood work, but there's a few more things that are required according to her. And I need to do, when I did the pap smear, they didn't test for one or two things. She's like, we need to test for that. I can't remember, it was like chlamydia or something like that. She's like, oh, the last time they had tested was in 2015, 3 years ago. And even though I did a pap smear in December, apparently my doctor's office didn't test for that specifically. So she said, we're gonna check everything. So she's like, take off all your clothes and, you know, put the gown on, and we're gonna do this. So pretty much she just checked, I guess she checked my lungs, checked my heart, she was just checking my breathing. And then she did the lovely pap smear, and then it was over. The nurse then said, meet me in the office again. And we waited there for a few minutes once I got my clothes back on. And she was going over the details of the IUI. And I almost had a heart attack because one of it is an ultrasound, transvaginal ultrasound during day 3 of my cycle. And I am not prepared for that. So Matt and I'm gonna wait for the doctor to call me to discuss, but I think Matt and I are gonna wait to get all the results back from the physical and the blood work that we just got done today, actually, to see another IVF clinic or another IVF doctor, because I thought that, I don't know, I think the pricing was the one that threw us off. So even though the nurse was going over all the details and to get on prenatals or start taking prenatals, which I've been taking, I didn't like the idea of spending almost $2,000 for one round of IUI with Clomid. I thought that was too expensive, so I was like, I found the IVF clinic by the house, like 10 minutes away, that they do free second opinion consultations. If you bring all your records, they'll give you a free consultation. I was like, perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and do that once I get all the results in. And fast forward to today, that was on Monday. Today we did our blood work. Nothing special there, except I'm going to insert a video now so you can see what happened at the clinic. Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm kind of driving here really quickly. Matt and I just got out of getting blood work done, and I had several things to test for. He had like half the amount of things to test for, and so we went in to get our test done at the same time. Like, we were sitting right across from each other. I had 7 vials to take out, or 7 vials of blood, and then Matt had 4. He had 3 regular sized ones, and he said he had 1 small one. We walked out, went down to the first floor to go to the parking lot to leave, and Matt was holding onto my arm. He's like, I think I'm gonna pass out. And Matthew passed out in my arms. Matt passed out. I didn't actually let him hit the floor. I was just carrying him, and it was really fast. It was like seconds. And then when he snapped out of it, he looked at me and he was like, "What happened?" I said, I started laughing. I was like, "You just passed out." I didn't mean to laugh. It's just his eyes were so like, he was like bugged out. And you can see his pupils were like really dilated. And I just told him, sit down. You can tell he was extremely pale, and he just asked for water. So luckily there was a vending machine nearby. And I have to laugh. I'm sorry. It was just so funny. I gave him water, and he was just profusely sweating. Like, his forehead was dripping in sweat, and the back of his hands were wet. And this is like in a matter of like a minute or two from it was so fast. So I just had to share that and document this because it just happened. He was sitting on the floor, like I said, and just for a few minutes, and then he was okay to drive. I made sure we were driving separate cars. And yeah, I had to share that. I had to document that. Sorry, my arm is like, the tape is coming off. But yeah, Matthew fainted after 4 vials of blood, and I'm here laughing. I'm a terrible wife. I am a terrible wife, but I had to share that. I guess I'll update you guys with how he's feeling when I get to work. Bye, guys. So update on Matt. Matt felt so much better today. For some weird reason, he was feeling extra hungry today. He just could not stop eating. He's had a headache for the majority of the day, so he's on his way home, and he's gonna take Tylenol or something and just eat and lay down. And now the next thing is wait for my my update, my follow-up. So the next thing is to wait for my follow-up phone call, which should be on Monday, which is 4 or 5 days away. 4 days maybe. 4 days away, and then from there get my records so I can take it to another doctor and see what they have to say and see what their pricing is. And I might even take it to a third one just to get my options. And until then, I guess I'll see you guys later. I don't know what else to say. It was nice talking to you guys. It's nice having someone to talk to. So I'll give you guys an update when I have something to say. Bye.